Good evening. It's January 7th. I'm actually live. It's not pre-recorded. It's happening right now. I'm Chris Gajulo. I'm a licensed associate broker and referral specialist for Realty Connect. And this is my podcast. My video live stream podcast will go up to Spotify of Real Estate with Mr. G. And got a lot to talk about. I didn't do a show last Saturday because it was New Year's Eve, and I figured nobody would be really watching it then because there'd be out to parties and going to New Year Eve's party, and so I didn't do one. And I was chilling out too. I don't like going out on New Year's Eve because of the crowds. We just make a nice dinner and we have our champagne and some cookies and cakes and whatever, and we just enjoy watching the ball drop. And we had a very good time. Okay, so it's a new year. A lot of things are going on. We have a new Speaker of the House. We have interest rates creeping back up again, and we are concerned about what's going to happen in 2023. A lot of reports are out there. I'm going to discuss one that came onto my blog, actually the week before Christmas, but I wanted to do my first show in the new year as what's going to happen in 2023. And then we're also going to talk about how to prepare for purchasing a home. Okay, so we have all that to talk about, but I'm going to, if you notice, I didn't do my long introduction. I'm going to test it to see. I put a lot of work in that introduction that went on for about 2 minutes, and it says, Real Estate with Mr. G will start shortly. But, with people's attention spans, and they might say, well, this is taking too long, I won't watch. Hopefully you're watching. More people watch now. I had a short beginning. But I like doing my next intro because it's basically showing what I am doing now. I've been in this business for 30 years. I was also a teacher. And I sort of retired from showing properties and listing properties. But I could still help you find a home. Okay? I am a referral specialist where if you're looking for a home, we could talk, we could chat, but I will point you to either agents that I know and trust and know for certain they will do a great job, or you could go into the database and Realty Connect will match you up with 2 to 3 different agents, and you can choose who you want to work with. And they are also well respected in the industry. So I still could help you along that way. All right. And actually you're getting, 2 for 1. It's like when you watch Shark Tank and you have 2 sharks pair up. And they say, well, you're getting 2 sharks now. You're going to be better in a better situation. Well, we could talk about what your goals are, what your needs are, if you're buying or selling, and then I'll point you to an agent who will help you along with seeing homes or with the listing of your home, okay? So I'm still involved with it. I'm more on the marketing end of it now, as opposed to going out and driving around and showing properties or getting people to come to your house, preparing your house for sale. That is going to be handed off to agents I work with personally or within Realty Connect. Okay? Hope that makes sense. So here's my little intro. I love that music, and I actually heard that music on a podcast I listened to. It was actually a comedy podcast, and he used it. And I asked him, we're actually Facebook friends, and I said, "Is that from a famous movie?" He goes, "No, it was from the site, and you could buy rights to use it," which I did. And but I just love the melody. I just I saw open vistas of mountains and plains and cattle, and it's actually called the Last Western. I think that's what it's called, and it sounds like a western. But I just really liked it, and hope you like it too. All right. So you might be saying, what's happening with 2023? And we just went through Christmas, and if you watch uh, the Christmas Carol, and when Scrooge meets the last ghost, the ghost of Christmas future, and he sees how terrible his life is, and he goes, "What are these? Are the shadows of what will happen or what might happen?" All right, and with anybody who you listen to, and if it's somebody from CNN or Fox News or MSNBC, or they're making predictions, no one knows for sure, right? We could look at ways uh, it can happen. Well, what could happen? We look at options, all right? And I even notice now when I either read the articles or I see something on the news, they're not saying for sure this is what's going to happen without question. They're not saying that anymore. They're saying, well, it could go this way, it could go that way, because we don't know. But we know that when you have these different items out there, these different factors, and each factor may cause a certain outcome. That's what makes economics so interesting, because, again, you could be in the chemistry lab with controlled substances, and if you mix this and with that, you're going to get a certain reaction. But with economics, you could have different predicaments, right? Uh, what's going on with the markets, and what's happening, for instance, like with a pandemic. And you take all these different ingredients, right? Whether there's a recession, whether there's inflation, whether there are supply chain issues, and you try to put it together and say, well, what's going to happen now? And it's no easy answer. And that's what makes it kind of exciting, even though, well, you say, well, exciting, I'd rather know for sure. So I'll put my money here, I'll put my money over here, I'll invest in real estate, I won't invest in real estate. So we only could say what, with this pot of all these different ingredients, well, we might have an outcome like this. All right. It might be very good. It could be bad. I don't know. But we'll talk about the different options out there. So let me get my graphic up there. And let me make myself the little bubble. And what to expect from the housing market in 2023. Now, the biggest thing, what's going to affect the market, all right? And we see these key words here in blue here, mortgage rates. These are these different ingredients, right? That we put into this pot to see what the outcome would be, supply and demand. But we know that mortgage rates have basically doubled within the last year, year and a half. Okay. A year and a half ago, they were about right below 3, and now they're in the 6s. So it's been more than doubled. And that's a big change to your monthly payment. So what's in store with mortgage rates in 2023? Well, we know they have gone up. A couple of weeks ago, they did dip a little bit, But then the Federal Reserve came out and they upped the Federal Reserve rate, which does not affect the mortgage rate directly, but it's kind of like a domino effect. So they have inched up a little bit again this last week. And we may continually see that. And again, that all depends on inflation. Okay. If we are getting a grasp on inflation, then the Federal Reserve says, well, we're not going to raise rates anymore, or we're not going to raise it as much as we did in the past. Okay. So if we average those forecasts, okay, right now experts are factoring all of this into their mortgage rate forecast for the next year. And if we average those forecasts together, experts say we can expect rates to stabilize a bit more in 2023. Whether that's between 5.5% or 6.5% is hard for experts to say exactly where they land. Okay. I think, well, before I tell you what actually I think, I have to take another sip of. It's actually nice salsa water. Now, when it comes to these agencies, when it comes to determining mortgage rate, I like to go and put more faith into Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. Now, when you have the Mortgage Banking Association and then the National Association of Realtors, they're hoping, they're gearing that because most of their members, right? Well, especially with the National Association of Realtors, they are representing realtors. So they're hoping that by the second quarter of 2023, these interest rates will start going down. Okay. And I think this is just a little too hopeful. I'd like to look more in this situation at the ones who actually are involved in the mortgage industry and providing mortgages to buyers. And they see the rates going down, okay, but not as dramatically as the Mortgage Banking Association and the National Association of Realtors. Now, this all depends, again, if we get inflation under control and the Federal Reserve stops raising interest rates, okay? Now, we had a very good job markets report on Friday. Many jobs were created. That means we still have a very good economy, all right? If companies are creating jobs, they're seeing that, you know, we're not going to go into a recession. We're going to be thriving. A lot of people will be working. But a lot of times, again, here we're going again with the example where you're mixing different items together. I mean, first I used the chemistry, and then I kind of went to a chef, you know. But again, if we go back to chemistry, we're adding these different what do you call it? You know, ingredient. I'll just use the term ingredients in there, and we don't know exactly what the outcome would be. So you know, now the job market, the report came out, and you know, a lot of jobs are created, and that means that the economy is going strong. But going strong most likely will mean also that we may have inflation because a lot of people buying, and sometimes that will push up prices. If companies have to say, well, there's more people out there now that want big screen TVs, well, we got to start mass producing it. All right. Even when it comes to food, when there's a lot, I've noticed with a lot of specialty items that you will see being marketed on social media. They're not cheap, okay? And in our household, I do the majority of the food shopping because I like to eat, and doesn't mean my wife doesn't like to eat, but I'm a little bit more daring when it comes to buying food. I'll buy a different type of meals and ingredients and so forth. But I noticed there's one thing that in an area where prices have not gone down, especially when you get into specialty items, they're getting like really expensive now. Okay. Give you an example. I just watched Shark Tank yesterday, and there's a guy that makes pancake batter out of popcorn. He uses that as a fly. I don't know how he does it, but that's what he does. And so a bag of and you probably could make like 2 meals out of it. Like we basically have pancakes or waffles every Saturday. And when we buy a box, that box is usually good for 2, maybe 3 servings, right? And the brand that we get costs around $3.50, $3 to $3.50. But he's selling his bags of pancake mixture for a little over $11. All right, so that's about more than 3 times the cost that you would usually pay. Now, even the people on the Shark Tank said you got to bring that price down, because most people will pay for a specialty item in this category will be $10, and he's over that. But of course, with inflation, the cost of making that flour, that most likely a special process, it's costly. So this may go down, but if we still have a strong economy, it may not go down. They may still have to raise the interest rates on that. So it says here, but we could see rates tick down if inflation continues to drop. But that's not guaranteed that inflation will drop. The next one that's going to affect the market is what happens to home prices next year. And we have seen home prices, and this is pretty much across the board, they begin to moderate and housing supply grow as buyer demand pulled back due to this higher mortgage rates. And sellers who put their homes on the market at these extremely high amounts, they're beginning to, even though they're still on the market, those prices, they're bringing it down. They're lowering the price of their home on the market. All right. So there is more homes staying on the market, and prices are moderating. So I would say in 2023, we will see now Realtor.com, and I forgot to look this one up here, HBS, but here you have the National Association of Realtors. They're still seeing home prices still going up. Okay. Now that may happen because what I just talked about, being that the economy is still strong and we're still going to have inflation, this still may go up. Okay. Freddie Mac, MBA, Fannie Mae, and Zalman have it going really down. I don't know if it's going to drop that much. Okay. To be honest with you, it would be nice if it would go down this amount, just to get more buyers back in the market. The low home rates will offset the increasing mortgage rates. So even though the mortgage rates are high, if the price of the home has gone down, it kind of like balances out. So here they're saying from Lawrence Young, the chief economist at the National Association of Realtors, after a big boom over the past 2 years, there will essentially be no change nationally. half of the country may experience small price gains, while the other half may see slight price declines. So he's saying it's not going to be across the board. I mean, you might still have areas of the nation where you will have increases in home prices, and others will you'll see amounts going down. It all again depends on the economy. I'm a nice little circle here. Because on the other hand, if we have a recession, which I don't think we're going to have one, I think we'll have a recession in certain areas like the tech area. But I don't think it's going to be across the board. But if it is across the board, then you're going to see home prices, of course, go down more because people can't afford it, right? There's going to be really a lot of less buyers in the market. And then because of that, the mortgage rate should come down. All right. But if you have people not working, and if you have people who own homes and not working, and they're not paying their mortgage, then there are foreclosures. But I don't think it's going to be that bad. I think we're going to get a handle on inflation by the second or third quarter, and it's going to be tapering it off. All right. We still have a very strong economy. We're creating jobs. So I'm not worried about a recession. I'm just concerned that they may still have to, and when I say they, the Federal Reserve may still have to do another increase in rates just to make sure they're pulling back the reins on this running horse of inflation and getting it under control. Now, what does that mean? In real estate, we want you to always buy and always buy and always buy. If you can wait, I would wait, to be honest with you. All right. If you have to buy, if you got to move, you got to do it. But if you have a little time on your hand, I would wait a little bit more and ride this out and to see if indeed mortgage rates come down. The biggest problem of all of this, you see, we were expecting mortgage rates to go up years ago, and it stood flat. And it should have went up a little bit. And then when the pandemic hit in, and we had this buying spree, I have to say, and I know it offends some people, but people got really greedy. And it's nice to make some extra money when you sell your house, but when you really have the scale go off balance, because basically in the real estate market, it's not like buying a hot tub, right? That you may need or not need. It's not necessary to have a hot tub, but it's nice to have a hot tub, right? But having a home affects people's lives, right? And if you can afford it, if you have to find a place to live and you can't afford it, and rents are high and home prices are high, it affects hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. And the only ones who did well were the sellers who left the table with a big chunk of money. But they heard it for the next guy and for the next couple. And, I know there's some people out there who say, hey, if you're going to make a lot of money, I would have kept it more reasonable. Just so, it's the process of sustainability that I actually had to learn that as a high school teacher to teach it to my students, it's like we had the Chesapeake Bay here, and that brings in, lots of jobs, and people go out there and fish, and we bring it to the market, and we know that there are laws out there like you don't go fishing for certain types of fish while they're mating. And the reason why you do, you want to give them a chance to mate and produce more fish. So the greed would be to go and catch as many as possible and not give a flying doo-doo if they don't get a chance to reproduce. But then down the line, in the next year, there'll be less fish to fish. So you might make a big killing now, but next year when you're trying to bring money in, it's not going to be there because you don't have the same amount of fish. So the laws of sustainability, like keeping enough out there so you could keep on going, it's very important to do that because it affects generations and generations. But we don't apply that to the real estate industry. Go out there and grab and get as much as you can. I'm going to talk about, I'm seeing now, it's called surplus funds. And basically when the bank forecloses, they may make some money on the house, especially if you pay down a lot of your mortgage. But then they don't give back. If the bank has made some profit after they took your house and sold it, they're not necessarily giving it back to the original owner. So now there are people out there who I'm seeing advertised where they're saying, well, if I could find you that money, and they're giving examples of like 80,000, I'm going to take a finder's fee, but they're advertising this program that they're going to take like $30,000 for a finder's fee for a guy to call up a bank and do a little paperwork and making $30,000 off the shot. And this is what people hate about real estate, because there's always someone trying to make a killing, get paid fast scheme, and at the expense of other people getting hurt really bad. I mean, here someone has lost a house. They had family in there, young children, and whatever they went through hard times. He or she lost their job. He or she got divorced. They lost the house, and now you're going to stick it to them again. So that's what's the thing I don't like about this industry. It's always like, make that big money now, and the heck with the other people. I don't know. Maybe I'll change it. Maybe I'll write, put on my blog, talk to Congress people, and see if this could be more regulated. Who knows? Maybe I'll do that. All right. In the meantime, let me show a little video on. Let's see here. Where did that go? Top reasons why you might want to buy a house. I put like a little nice Latin beat on that video. This was made by another company, but I kind of like spruce it up. I've done that with my other videos, especially you saw during Christmas, you saw Santa Claus come in. I usually kind of spruce it up a little bit to make it more my own. Okay. So with that in mind, we talked about why it's nice to own a house, and we'll just take a look at. Okay, if this comes up nice and clean. Oh, I took that down. Here it is. All right, so tips to reach your home buying goals in 2020 23. All right, let's go down a little bit here. If buying a home is one of your goals in 23, here are a few things to focus on. You work on your credit, and that's most important, all right, because that's your first step. Even before you speak to a realtor, is that you find out how you stand on your credit. Your credit score impacts your mortgage rate and future home loan. Monitor your credit to keep track of your spending record and improve your score by paying down your debt. So that's like a very important first step. Plan for your down payment. Set aside a portion of each of your paycheck to go directly into your home buying fund. All right. And work with a professional to explore your options and down payment assistance. All right. So this is important over here because unless if you're a VA, if you're a veteran, you could get 100% financing. Or even if you're a first-time home buyer, there are programs out there that you could finance that down payment. Okay. It's usually 3.5%. But if you save up the money and you have it, that's a less monthly expense that you have. So try to save up for your down payment, all right, as much as you can. So you get pre-approved. And basically, going back to the first one, you go to get pre-approved, and let's say you cannot be approved at that time. Your loan officer will give you advice on what you should pay down first, and if you have some extra money, by how much, and how that will bring up your credit score. Okay. Again, one of my biggest problems when I was showing this home is getting people to speak to the loan officer. They want to see homes without being pre-approved. And I always agree just showing one just to show good faith. But after that, you have to get pre-approved. You have to. Otherwise, in this industry, you only make money when you close. All right. So if I'm showing you 10 homes and you finally found the home you like, and then you go to your loan officer and you need another 6 months to bring up your credit score, then it was a complete waste of time. Okay. I want to be a nice guy. I want to show you, but it's just the way it is. You got to do this. And this saves you time as well. So prioritize your wants and needs of what you want in the house. It's very important because with home prices that have gone up, and let's say, well, I always wanted the pool. I always wanted a house with in-ground pool. And you find out they are really expensive. And then you say, okay, do I really need that? Can I just go to the Y? And it's very important to do that. So this is up on my blog, Real Estate with Mr. G .blog, and you can look at that infographic. Okay. All right. So I'm up to I'm going over now. Oh, 35 minutes already. Okay. Really talked long. But it's a new year. There's a lot to talk about. So I hear that my let me close this down. Okay. Close that. It doesn't hit that. Okay, I'm not going to make myself nice and big again. Okay, and I hear from my producer, William Burgess, that we have a famous celebrity in the audience. And by the way, I want to wish you, William, a very happy and prosperous new year.
Yes, Chris. Happy New Year to you as well. Today we have in the audience a famous performer. His name is Schlepper the Clown. He's been performing in circuses throughout the nation since the Hoover administration. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome Schlepper the Clown.
All right. Okay. It was nice having Schlepper the Clown in the audience. I'm glad William brought it up. Okay. So that's it for today's show, and I hope you got something good out of it. Um, I still have my lights up. I took down the outside lights. We usually celebrate up to the 6th, which was yesterday, the Epiphany or Three Kings Day. So we still have some lights on in the house. They will most likely be down by next Saturday. I hope, yeah. Well, these lights I actually will stay. I don't have to always put them on, and I can make them go different colors. It's really nice. But I'm going to take down the little decorations. I got an elf up there, and I'll take those down. So, by the way, no matter what, be kind to each other, uh, be nice to each other, and always remember the greatest power we have is to love, and the greatest gift is each other. And I'm going to do my outro, but I'm going to still do it with the Christmas music in the back. I think it's really nice. At least, yeah, I think it's nice.